Hi, it's Monday, September 21st, and this is the video for 11th grade English. So let's take a look at our agenda from today. First, we read the beautiful poem by Joy Harjo, Eagle Poem, and then we moved into a discussion of the short story we read last week. And then I introduced our first writing assignment. So the writing assignment is the foundation for your STEM today. You're going to choose the central concept that you think you'll write about. You're going to have 3 choices. And then you're going to add because, but, or so to the end, and that is your assignment. And then my last little note there is if you haven't taken your Jimmy Santiago Baca quiz, please do so. So first, let's go over to Joy Harjo. I love Joy Harjo's poetry. She writes in free verse mostly. We're going to look at a couple of poems by her this week. She's a Creek Indian, and I think she's formed the foundation of my poetry for this unit because she captures a lot of the themes we've been discussing about. In this one, pay attention to the 4 selves. You'll hear numbers of 4 of things, and then pay attention to spirals or circles.
Eagle Poem. To pray, you open your whole self to sky, to earth, to sun, to moon, to one whole voice that is you. And know there is more that you can't see, can't hear, can't know except in moments steadily growing, and in languages that aren't always sound but other circles of motion. Like eagle that Sunday morning over Salt River, circled in blue sky and wind, swept our hearts clean with sacred wings. We see you, see ourselves, and know that we must take the utmost care and kindness in all things. Breathe in, knowing we are made of all this, and breathe, knowing we are truly blessed because we were born and die soon within a true circle of motion. Like eagle, rounding out the morning inside us, we pray that it will be done in beauty, in beauty.
All right. I'm laughing because I watched myself watching the poem and I realized my concentration face when I'm thinking looks like I'm in pain, but I'm not. I'm just listening and thinking. It's my thinking face. I love this poem. I think that the circles of motion, it reminds me of the spirals the Navajo historian referenced, that spirals and circles, that is part of beauty. That is part of hope. And it's captured here in the end in beauty, the repetition of these circles and the beauty of them. So when we think about the writing assignment that I'm going to offer to you today, a lot of it asks you to reflect on what art can do for you. And I know reading poems like this, what it does for me is it gives me language to make sense of the world. So I'm just sprinkling that in there as you think about what art has done for you. So speaking of art, let's go to our story discussion. We finished What You Pawn I Will Redeem. And if you weren't here, you'll have to do these notes on a discussion board. You'll click on that document and get to a series of topics: alcohol, grandmother, money, yellow bead, cops, food, other Indians, or your choice. I want you to pick one topic and explain it in a paragraph of prose on the discussion board. It doesn't have to be refined prose, because when we speak, our speech is not grammatically refined. I'm just looking for your thinking. So I'm not grading it for grammatical accuracy like I do with writing. I'm just grading it to see what it is that you thought about that topic. To find the discussion board, come back over here to Schoology, scroll way down until you get to Native America, and it's going to be under day 8, which is today. After our discussion, I moved into a presentation of your first writing assignment. So I'm going to click on that here. I'll talk you through it, and today I'd like you to think about what concept you want to discuss. So this week marks the end of our Native America unit. Success in this unit will look like you writing and talking about your understanding of one central concept. The three concepts that have formed the foundation of our thinking as we design the unit are here. Number 1, art reflects our spirit. Number 2, art helps us survive. And number 3, we are not defined by those who have power over us. All of these pieces we chose were demonstrating that, we hope, that art comes about from people who are seeking a spiritual revelation, survival itself, and they're seeking their own empowered voice, rather than defining themselves only as a victim. As we move into the next unit, Native Americans might be victimized in those narratives. And yet, we will always push back and assert that each of these groups that we're studying has a voice stronger than simply this idea of good versus evil. We want you to pick a concept that you find really interesting. So looking at those, which one do you like? And then you'll pick a piece of art. Scroll down here. There's 4 major pieces that we've looked at. The Navajo origin story, so those were the videotaped ones of the historian on YouTube explaining. There was Silko's short story, The Man to Send Rain Clouds, about the priest bringing the holy water. There was, of course, the longest one, Sherman Alexie's What You Pawn I Will Redeem. And then there was Baca's I Am Offering You This Poem. So you're going to pick one concept and one piece of art. Letting that sink in. When you've made your selection, click here and just tell me what you picked. What is your name? What concept did you pick? And then down here, what piece of art did you pick? Then, your task. This will be due next Monday by 9. Write a professional 3 to 5 sentence paragraph that explains how the art you chose reveals the concept. I'm grading this for clarity. 3 points for that grammatical accuracy. I'm grading it for complexity. 3 points for the depth of your thinking, the insights that you have to offer. And 3 points for a deep understanding. I'm looking for you to reveal that you understood the art that we engaged with, that you read it or you studied it in some way, and you understand the basics and maybe the more deep themes within it. At least one of your sentences has to be one of those because but so's, just to reveal that the grammatical accuracy and the construct we've been practicing. So what does that look like? Well, for example, someone could choose to show how the Navajo origin stories show that art helps us survive. There's 3 models at the end of all of this that you could also use. Maybe a piece where Sherman Alexie's story shows us that art helps us survive. Maybe a piece where Baco's poem shows us that art reflects our spirit, and so on. So there's 2 things, and you kind of form whatever combination you want of them. That is part 1, and that is due on Monday of next week. Part 2 is this one, and I'm going to go over it quickly because you might find that it inspires you as you're working. Part 2, not part 1, is more modern. So in part 2, we want you to choose a concept just like you did for part 1. And then for the piece of art, we want you to pick anything. And really, anything. It could be a poem, it could be a painting, a song, a story, pottery, fashion, a piece of art. And you are going to show us how that art reveals the concept you chose. So if you're choosing this idea of we are not defined by those who have power over us, maybe you would find a song that shows the concept of power. And my example, I used Bob Dylan. You don't need to write this time. Instead, we want you to get the image on your computer. So if it's a song, you have the song in there, the lyrics maybe the music video, whatever it is. And then you're going to download Screencastify, which I'll walk you through later in the week, but you can start playing around with it now. And you'll record yourself talking over the art, just like I am doing right now and do every day. 5 minutes. In fact, it kicks you out after 5 minutes. So you have to max it out at 5 minutes where you are explaining that piece of art to us. And as these come in, I'll choose them. As they come in, I'll choose some to show to the entire class. So that is the entire project. Part 2 is not due, by the way, for a few weeks, so don't worry about it quite so much yet. Really focus on part 1. I'm going to go back to your stems. Your stem for today is to choose your concept that you're going to make your writing assignment about and add because, but, so into your entry. So today's stem is just you showing that you deeply understand that concept before you go around writing about it. And you're going to have 3 sentences just about the concept itself. All right, that was a lot, and I'm here. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.